Hey, Dr. Bill here. So as we approach the holiday season, I'd like to take a moment and just give you my heartfelt appreciation for all your support in following us on Meet the Mentor. It means the world to me and the Leap Foundation here. And we also hope that your holidays are filled with peace and happiness and world peace. This is such a critical time in our history. So let's just pray for peace. With that, we're going to go into our next Meet the Mentor. Now, for those of you who don't know why we do this because of the Leap Foundation.
LEAP is an entrepreneurship program for high school and college students aged 15 to 25 that we have taught at UCLA for the last 16 years. What do we teach? We teach students skills to be successful in life. And the coolest thing about LEAP is that I've asked so many of my celebrity patients and business leaders to come and help, and they do. We've had Mark Wahlberg, Paula Abdul, Michael Strahan, Kathy Bates, Anthony Hopkins, Apollo Ono, Eric Garcetti, Jason Alexander. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And these people come and share the secrets of their success with our LEAP students. Typically, we get about 500 to 550 students every summer, and we literally pack them with so much information. It's like drinking from a fire hose. And one of the parts that the students love most is when we bring in these mentors. So we started this Meet the Mentor series because we didn't want this to just be a one and done week. We wanted to do it throughout the year and continue to give these students great information from great mentors to teach them how to do businesses in every field you could ever imagine.
Every single celebrity patient of mine that I've ever asked to come and speak at LEAP has said yes. And this year, we have the honor of having Sir Anthony Hopkins return. By the way, he has 2 big films coming out this year. He plays Sigmund Freud, and then there's a movie called One Life that he's starring in. And he told me personally that this is his favorite film he's ever done. It's actually the story of a gentleman in the UK who was able to derail a train with 669 Jewish children from Auschwitz to the UK, and he saved their lives. And these kids now have had kids who have had kids, and it's probably like 3,000 or 4,000 people that are still living because of this man's action. And the movie's all based on his life, which is super exciting. We also have Jason Alexander coming from Seinfeld. Amy Adams has said that she will come if she's available. Shay Mitchell said she will come if she's available, and a lot of other great business owners and leaders and whatnot. So this year, LEAP will also make another big leap to USC. We've always done the program at UCLA. This year it will be at USC. It will be July 21st to the 27th. Students live on campus at USC for the whole week. I almost said UCLA. And it should be a phenomenal year at LEAP. So if you haven't signed up for LEAP yet, and you have a kid who's 15 to 25, and you're a parent and you don't sign them up, you're a bad parent. So sign your kids up, go to www.leapfoundation.com, and you can sign up now. It'd be the perfect holiday gift. With that, I'd like to introduce you to Harry Gestetner, right?
Bang on.
Okay, it sounds like so German and Jewish. Anyhow, he co-founded FanFix, a subscription-based performance platform for Gen Z creators to monetize their content. And he did this as a sophomore in college. By senior year, he and his co-founder sold the company for millions, hundreds of millions. No, we'll just go with millions, to a talent agency called Super Ordinary. On the platform, which now has more than 15 million users, dozens of employees and fans can subscribe to see exclusive content from creators, pay to chat with the creators, and also tip them for posts. I'll have Harry explain this a little bit more in a second. The company differentiated itself by being clean, okay? So it's not like your OnlyFans deal, but same kind of idea, just everybody keeps their clothes on, I guess, right? It's a Gen Z targeted audience, and it also was mobile first. Harry, thank you for coming, and I love Harry because my grandpa was Harry, and I grew up with Grandpa Harry my whole life. So what inspired you to create this company?
Yeah, I think I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, was very lucky, grew up around a lot of entrepreneurs, and always knew what I wanted to be doing, which was starting businesses and building things. And my first business started when I was 11, and then had a bunch over the years. Vast majority of them failed, all of them failed. And then had a charity that I set up during COVID, which was the first success in the nonprofit space, called Fuel Our Heroes. We scaled that to the largest student organization during COVID. Had a team of about 140 and raised about $500,000 for healthcare workers. And then saw an opportunity in the social media space. Saw my cousin blowing up on TikTok and struggling to monetize. So saw a gap in the market and launched FanFix.
Okay, let's back up. So you're a kid. I'm gonna start up a business. Like, how many kids do that?
Quite a few, I think. No,
Yeah,
probably not
but
that many.
like, where'd you get the wherewithal for that? I mean, you know, you don't just wake up and say, okay, well, actually Trump did. I was gonna say, you don't just wake up one day and say, I'll be president, but I guess it does happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of it was instinct, and then a lot of it was being able to see entrepreneurs around me growing up. So my parents were both entrepreneurs, so kind of was used to seeing the
Now
risk
wait,
tolerance.
how much did they help?
I mean, they helped a lot in the, you know, I'd sit in on calls in my dad's office and you know, hear him speak, and that kind of gave me a good sense of what went on.
I'll tell you a funny anecdotal story. My daughter, Georgie, started a clothing line called All My Love.
Awesome.
And she came to me in the beginning and said, Dad, I'd like you to invest in my company.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. But if I'm investing, I'm going to be a partner, and you're going to have to listen to my advice. She goes, I'll do it on my own. So how much input did your folks actually have in this?
Yeah, I mean, not a huge amount of input as such. Definitely some advice, but I think also, you know, was able to, like, my dad always kept me in the loop with his stuff going on, so was able to learn from him. So definitely a lot of that rubbed off.
So when you came up with the initial idea for FanFix, was there anything already out there in that space, or were you guys first?
Yeah, there were two big platforms. One was Patreon, one was OnlyFans. OnlyFans obviously is very dirty, and there's a huge stigma for the creators joining that platform. And then you had Patreon, which was just targeting a much older demographic, a much older generation of creator, and it was a desktop-first platform. So we thought there needed to be a brand-friendly, clean, mainstream, Gen Z first, mobile first, TikTok first exclusive content platform. So we were really one of the first to market there.
And if you could you explain what your audience is actually doing on your platform?
Yeah, so they're supporting their favorite creators, so they can subscribe to a membership club for their favorite creator. They can pay to message with their favorite creator. They can buy a follow back on TikTok, follow back on Instagram, an ad back on Snapchat, and they can tip the creator as well.
And what kind of content are these creators posting?
Yeah, vast majority. I mean, so they'll send out get ready with me's every day. They'll do one on TikTok, but then an extended cut on FanFix. Podcasts can do behind the scenes stuff and kind of bloopers on FanFix. So really a big variety of content.
Okay, so this is a stretch because I actually have never gone on your site, which I probably should have. But would there be like anything for me? Like, I'm a dentist, but like, are there any dentists on there?
I think we did have a doctor at one point who was I think a psychologist. So yeah, definitely it could be an option.
And then is it something where I just like create everything all on my own, or do you have like a team that guides me, or is that even a service that I could purchase?
Yeah, we're just a platform, so you post whatever you want, and we can our team can give advice, but for the most part, you just post whatever you want.
Okay, so start at the very beginning. You started this company. You have a partner, right?
Yep.
And kind of give me like the growth trajectory of like how it started and how it grew and what all you did to make that thing successful.
Yeah, so we started it was actually my junior year of college, and we had the idea. We thought, all righty, so we got this idea. We need to build a platform. How do we do that? We have no idea. We're non-technical. So first thing we need to do was hire engineers. We couldn't hire anyone because couldn't convince anyone to come and work for us. And we were first-time founders and students, and we also didn't have the money to pay them. So we outsourced the engineering to a development shop, and needed to find the money to pay them. And so we signed a contract kind of without having the money, and gave ourselves, we knew we could cover the first 2 payments ourselves, so gave us about 2 months runway to try and raise some money to get it.
And then did you offer them equity in exchange? Or?
Yeah, they had a small amount of equity, and then so we launched a platform. At first, we were kind of struggling to get users, so we managed to get a big influencer called Cameron Dallas to come and join as a co-founder, and he really helped legitimize us and get creators on board. And then in August, we sort of officially launched, August 2021, and the traction was very rapid and kept on growing very quickly, and then we got acquired within 10 months.
Okay, you skipped so many steps.
Yeah.
Okay, back up. So here we are, you and your buddy are sitting in the dorm room saying, let's make a multi-million-dollar company, right? So you come up with this idea. There's really nobody exactly in that space. And you realize, okay, we need a tech team to develop this for us. So you go out, you hire this company, which you paid 2 months for, and then gave them some equity in your company. And you guys kind of lucked out by getting a big influencer on board right away, right? So talk to me about the growth, and then how were you able to monetize that as well?
Yeah, I think to be successful, you got to be contrarian and be right. And for us, the contrarian idea was the fact that Gen Z would pay for exclusive content, and most kind of investors, et cetera, thought that they just didn't have the money to.
Wait, hold that thought.
Yeah.
I get where the creators are receiving content. How do you figure out what percentage of that actually goes back to fanfics?
Yeah, so we take about 20%,
Got it.
and that was roughly industry standard.
So the payment is actually made through you.
Yeah.
Because if it was made to the creator, you would never see your 20%, right?
Yeah.
So they're
through the
basically paying you for the creator, and then you're keeping 20% and paying them 80%.
Yeah,
Got
correct.
It.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
Yep.
And so right off the bat, you started this in 2021,
Yeah.
right? Can you give me kind of an idea and trajectory of what your sales looked like right out of the gate?
Yeah, so it wasn't huge to begin with. I think the first month we did about $17,000, and then it doubled the second month, and then kind of basically kept on doubling. And every month we felt like this was going to be the last month of revenue we ever did, and then it just kept on coming in as more creators were joining. But I think for us, the first product market fit is the North Star for every entrepreneur, and for us, product market fit was one creator being able to monetize their audience. And our first creator joined, and they made more with one post than they made from a brand deal. And they weren't promoting a brand; they were just promoting themselves. So they were extremely excited, and that was when we realized, wow, we could be on something here.
I have so many questions. So is there any part of your technology and what you've done that's actually like patentable or trademark? I mean, obviously your name and all that, but is there anything that you have been able to do that would prevent another company from doing the exact same thing?
Yeah, so I think the major thing would just be 3 years of development now and tens of millions of dollars spent on engineering. That's the major barrier to entry. It's a pretty complex tech stack. But that being said, I think when we saw the problem, the gap in the market, we didn't think it was necessarily a technical problem. We thought it was more of a marketing problem, more of a brand positioning problem. You had the tech stack was there with Patreon, for example, and then you had OnlyFans too. But those two platforms, the tech was not incredibly complex, but branding wise, OnlyFans obviously had the very dirty connotations, and Patreon was just targeting a much older demographic. So we thought that ultimately moat is what you're searching for, and I think execution is really the only true moat.
No, it's true. And I think one of the things that I learned in business is being first to market is such a huge advantage. I mean, even if there's things like you can't patent water, but if you come out with the first bottled water, and being first is just such a strong advantage in the market, that even though you may not be able to prevent another company, the fact that you were there first and grew so fast is really, really, really exciting and important. And I think that in order to maintain your advantage, you have to continue to grow and to innovate, correct?
Totally. Yeah. I think you want to disrupt yourself so no one else disrupts you. I think it's very difficult for the big companies like Facebook or Patreon. Once you have product market fit with an idea that ended up working, it's quite difficult to take a risk to innovate, and then ultimately you end up becoming fairly irrelevant to a new generation. So if you look at Facebook, the usage with Gen Z, with my generation, is extremely low now. That's the platform that our grandparents use.
Right.
So I think Patreon was the same thing.
Right.
And that gave the opportunity for us to come in.
And I'll tell you another thing. So my other daughter, Georgie, who developed her clothing line, All My Love, while that's growing, she's working at Kim Kardashian's company called Skims.
Wow.
What did Skims do? Well, Spanx was huge. Spanx was, contour body wear for women. Kim Kardashian made it 10 times better, went out and hit the market with her line called Skims, and they're selling billions a year, and they're only in like their third or fourth year. They're like dwarfing the sales of Spanx. So it's so important, even when you do have that, the first to market advantage, to continually innovate and just stay ahead of the game, or else you lose your advantage.
100%.
Like Facebook.
Yeah, completely agree. Totally.
So once you sold the company, you were done. You were out, right?
No. I stayed on to run the company. Still here. It's been about 15 months since the acquisition, and company's grown like crazy. We're up about 35x on the acquisition, and the team's up to about 65 people now. So things have grown like crazy.
So let me ask you this: what inspired you to sell when you sell? And one of the things that you guys should understand is typically when you sell a company, you sell it for a multiple of your earnings, your EBITDA. So for instance, when I sold my company, Discus Dental, where we created Zoom Whitening, at the time in that space, dental companies were selling for a multiple of about 10x, right? So you guys sold your company for a multiple, undisclosed, but now you're telling me you're doing 35 times what you're doing. So imagine if you sold your company now instead of back in 2022?
Yeah. I think we got a very big premium at the time, so the multiple was a lot bigger than the multiple would be now. So I don't think it's quite that straightforward. But yeah, I think to us, we always knew there was a possibility that selling the company, you cut off the possibility of the company, being much bigger and getting a much bigger exit. To us, I think we would have regretted more the also fairly likely scenario that the company went to zero and we got out with nothing when we could have taken an amazing acquisition.
You're so right. You're so right. My grandfather, who was a serial entrepreneur, always said pigs get slaughtered.
Yeah, it's true.
And and it's so true.
Yep.
When we were considering selling Discus, a conversation I frequently had with my partner was, hypothetically, and this couldn't happen, but what if somebody invented a pill that automatically made your teeth white?
Totally.
Our company would have no value.
Yeah,
We'd be
100%.
done.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's smart. And the other thing that I think that, and if you're lucky enough to get to a place where you do grow a company and it's poised for sale, I think a very serious question that you always have to ask yourself is, how much is enough?
Yeah, totally.
And when my company grew to a point where I knew I could sell this company and lead a comfortable life with my kids and my family and everything, for me, that was it. That was all I needed. I didn't need to be like the richest man in Babylon. I just needed to have enough to know I could live
Yeah,
you know?
totally. I mean, I think timing is everything, and it's that's all part of the fun that you never know. Hindsight's 20/20. You never actually know when the right timing was. I think you have to kind of guess the markets. You have to guess the the tailwinds, the headwinds, and ultimately they're going to be things out of your control. I mean, COVID, came from nowhere and ended businesses overnight, but also made businesses overnight. So
Well, it helped your dad's business a
yeah,
lot.
Exactly. So I think timing's everything. To me, I think it's better to business is a bell curve. It goes like that, and it's better to sell on this side of the curve, rather than this side of the curve. You just got to get as close to that peak as possible, and get out when you can.
Well, so I'm going to put you on the spot. If I were a sophomore in college right now, and I had a phenomenal idea for a company, kind of give me a roadmap of what steps I should take in order to really take an idea to fruition.
Yeah, I think first of all, figure out if your idea is actually solving a real problem, and then assuming it's solving a real problem, do you think there is a business here? How do you think the market is? And what do you think the tailwinds are going to be? And I think you kind of got to take a bet, like I was saying earlier about, be contrarian, be right. You kind of have to take a bet about, where the market will be in 3, 5, 10 years, and you got to be right for the most part on that. So figure out what the problem is, figure out what your product is, what the solution is, figure out where you think the market's going and how good you think that market is, and then find the minimal viable product, basically what the least amount of work that you can do to launch a product that gets to market. And I think there's a quote that I really believe in, which is if you aren't completely embarrassed by the first product you launch, then you launch too late. So I think come up with the MVP, and then just get it out there, start collecting data, start testing, and you want a few people who love your product rather than a lot of people who like your product. So you got to make sure that product is actually solving a real problem, and there's not only product market fit, i.e. people want to use your product, but also pricing market fit, and people are willing to pay for that product, and it's a profitable business.
I love that, all of that. One last question. Fanfics, where'd that come from?
Yeah, I think there was no one's actually ever asked that question. It's a good question. There was at the time, we saw TikTok blowing up. We knew nothing about TikTok really. We just did, my partner and I just did all the research we could. We didn't even have the TikTok app. And so there was an account at the time, which was kind of a paparazzi for all these influencers, called the Hollywood Fix, and I liked the word fix because it's kind of like the fan is getting their fix of their favorite influencer.
Yeah, I love it.
So just kind of combined fan and fix, and fanfix was born.
I love it. I love making up names. That's my favorite thing. I mean, when we hit the jackpot with Zoom, I now, when I meet people and I just want to mess with them, they'll say, "Oh, what do you do?" I say, "Oh, I invented Zoom." They're like, "Wait, what?" Yeah. Okay, Zoom tooth whitening, but it's still, I invented Zoom.
It's a funny one, yeah.
And it's one of the most recognized brands in the world now.
Totally.
Well, Harry, thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you.
Absolutely want you to commit to coming to LEAP this year.
Yeah.
I want the students to meet you in person.
Definitely.
And if there are students listening who want to reach out to you, what's the best way to get you?
Yeah, probably LinkedIn's the best way. Just my name, Harry Gestetner.
Yeah, nobody can spell it. We'll put it in the notes.
Put it in the notes, absolutely.
Yeah, all right.
Awesome.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, Dr. Bill, over and out.